Bitcoin Radio, the sound of the change.
Hello, friends. I hope you are all doing well. You wanted to understand what these recent political changes could mean for the world of cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin. And wow, we've got some interesting material to dig into for this discussion.
Yeah.
Seems like everyone's talking about it, even people who usually aren't that into crypto.
It's true. It is fascinating to see this topic suddenly grabbing so much attention.
It really is.
Yeah.
So what's fueling this sudden surge of interest?
Well, there's a lot to unpack here. You see,
Okay.
historically powerful nations have always sought to control resources
Right.
that give them a strategic edge.
Uh-huh.
In the past, it was gold, oil, things like that.
Yeah.
Now, some experts believe that Bitcoin could become a new kind of strategic asset.
That's the idea behind a strategic Bitcoin reserve, right?
Exactly.
This idea that the U.S. government might start stockpiling Bitcoin like it used to do with gold. What's the thinking behind that?
The idea is that by holding a significant amount of Bitcoin, the U.S. could not only protect itself against economic instability, but potentially influence the global crypto landscape.
So it's not just about having a digital nest egg.
Right.
It's about power and influence on the world stage.
Precisely. It's about positioning the U.S. as a leader in this emerging financial system.
I'm seeing here that there's actual legislation being proposed, the
Yeah.
Bitcoin Act of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
What can you tell us about that?
This act proposes a pretty bold move.
Okay.
It outlines a plan for the U.S. Treasury to purchase 1 million Bitcoins
Wow.
over the next 5 years and hold them as a long-term strategic reserve.
Okay.
The idea is that these Bitcoins would be off limits for selling or trading, essentially locking them away.
Wow. 1 million Bitcoins.
Yeah.
That's a huge amount. And they'd just be holding them.
Right.
No selling, no trading.
Yeah,
That's quite a commitment.
it is. It shows how seriously some policymakers are taking Bitcoin. Now, whether this act actually passes is another story.
Right.
It'll depend on how Congress weighs the potential benefits and risks.
I can only imagine the debates that are going on right now. But speaking of potential benefits, one advocate for this approach is predicting that a Bitcoin reserve could create a huge amount of wealth for the U.S. Treasury.
Right.
His argument is that holding Bitcoin could be a hedge against inflation and generate significant returns, similar to how gold reserves worked in the past.
It's certainly an intriguing argument.
Yeah.
Remember, the value of Bitcoin has seen incredible growth over the years.
Right.
If that trend continues,
Yeah.
even a small percentage gain on 1 million Bitcoins could translate into substantial profits.
But I'm guessing not everyone is convinced.
Right.
What are some of the counter-arguments to this whole strategic reserve idea?
Well, some critics argue that it's a risky gamble.
But
Bitcoin is notoriously volatile, and its price can swing wildly. There's no guarantee that its value will continue to rise.
Yeah.
Others worry about the government's ability to manage such a large and complex asset effectively. Remember, we've seen governments mishandle traditional assets before, so there's no guarantee they'll get it right with Bitcoin.
it's a big bet for sure with a lot of unknowns.
Yeah.
But let's say the U.S. does go all in on Bitcoin. What kind of ripple effects could we see on the global stage?
That's a great question. If the U.S., the world's leading economic power,
Right.
makes a significant move into Bitcoin,
Yeah.
it could send a powerful signal to other countries.
Would they feel pressured to follow suit?
Possibly.
Almost like a cryptocurrency arms race?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's conceivable that other nations, particularly those looking to challenge the dominance of the U.S. dollar, might start accumulating their own Bitcoin reserves.
Yeah.
This could create a whole new dynamic in global finance, with countries vying for dominance in this new digital landscape.
It's like we're on the brink of a whole new financial order.
Yeah.
And Bitcoin is right at the center of it all.
It's a fascinating and unpredictable time.
It really is. We've got this whole strategic reserve thing brewing.
Yeah.
But let's not forget about the other big development,
Right.
potential regulatory changes. It seems like the Securities and Exchange Commission might become more crypto-friendly under the new administration.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Well, it seems there's a growing recognition that the technology behind cryptocurrencies, known as blockchain,
Right.
has the potential to revolutionize more than just finance.
I've heard that too.
Yeah.
People are talking about its potential in everything from supply chains to healthcare to voting systems. Is that what's driving this shift towards a more crypto-friendly approach?
It's definitely a factor. Policymakers are starting to see that this technology has far-reaching implications. They want to create a regulatory environment that fosters innovation in the U.S., not stifle it.
That makes sense. But it seems a bit contradictory, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
On one hand, you have this push for a strategic Bitcoin reserve,
Right.
which implies a certain level of government control. On the other hand, you have this move towards a more crypto-friendly approach, which suggests less regulation.
Yeah.
How do those two things coexist?
It's a delicate balancing act, that's for sure. There's this tension between wanting to harness the potential of this technology and wanting to stay true to the core principles of decentralization and limited government involvement.
It sounds like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too.
Right.
Embrace this potentially revolutionary technology without compromising its fundamental values.
It's a tough needle to thread. And the crypto community itself is divided on how to navigate this. Some are inherently suspicious of any government involvement.
Yeah.
They believe that crypto should remain decentralized and free from regulation. Others are more pragmatic.
Okay.
Included framework, especially if it leads to wider adoption and stability.
So it's a complex issue with a lot of different perspectives. But let's focus on this potential shift in regulation. What could a more crypto-friendly Securities and Exchange Commission look like in practice?
Well, one possibility is that we might see a softening of enforcement actions.
Yeah.
The SEC has been cracking down on certain crypto projects that they deem to be securities violations. A more crypto-friendly approach might involve easing up on those actions, giving the industry more breathing room to innovate.
And what about things like Bitcoin ETFs? There's been a lot of talk about those for years.
Right. A Bitcoin ETF would make it much easier for everyday investors to gain exposure to Bitcoin without having to directly buy and hold the cryptocurrency itself.
Yeah.
A crypto-friendly SEC might be more likely to approve such a product, which could potentially open the floodgates for institutional investment.
That would be huge for the industry. But like you said, there's also this concern about government overreach.
Right.
What if a government that embraces crypto also sees it as a tool for surveillance and control?
It's a valid concern. Cryptocurrencies offer a certain degree of anonymity, which can be appealing for privacy advocates.
Right.
But that same anonymity can also be exploited for illicit activities.
Right.
If governments become more involved in the crypto space, there's a risk that they could use their power to track transactions, impose restrictions, or even censor certain types of activity.
That's a slippery slope for sure.
It is, and it's something that the crypto community is watching very closely. The whole ethos of crypto is about empowering individuals, not giving more power to governments.
Right. It's about freedom and control and the balance between the two.
Yeah.
So we've got this complex interplay between the potential for a strategic Bitcoin reserve, the possibility of a more crypto-friendly regulatory environment, and the concerns about government overreach. It's a lot to digest.
It is.
What's the key takeaway here for someone who's just trying to make sense of it all?
I think the most important thing is to remember that we're still in the very early stages of this whole crypto revolution.
Right.
Things are changing rapidly, and there's a lot of uncertainty about how it's all going to play out.
It feels like we're witnessing a major historical shift,
Yeah.
but we don't yet know where it's all headed.
Exactly. It's like we're standing at a fork in the road.
Okay.
One path leads to a more decentralized and democratized financial system where individuals have more control over their own money. The other path leads to a world where governments and corporations maintain their grip on power, using crypto as a tool to solidify their control.
It's a pivotal moment.
Yeah.
The choices we make now will have a profound impact on the future.
Absolutely. It's not just about technology.
Yeah.
It's about the kind of world we want to live in.
That's a powerful way to put it.
Yeah.
So given all this uncertainty, what can people do to prepare themselves for what's to come?
I'd say the most important thing is to educate yourself.
Okay.
Don't just blindly follow the hype or the fear.
Right.
Take the time to learn about how this technology works, the different types of cryptocurrencies, the potential risks and rewards, and the different perspectives on regulation. The more informed you are, the better equipped you'll be to navigate this rapidly evolving landscape.
It's like learning a new language, isn't it?
Yeah.
You need to understand the vocabulary and the grammar before you can truly appreciate the literature.
That's a great analogy. Crypto has its own unique language and concepts,
Right.
and it takes time and effort to grasp them. But the rewards can be significant,
Yeah.
not just from a financial standpoint, but from a societal one as well.
Okay, so we've talked about the potential benefits and risks of a strategic Bitcoin reserve, a more crypto-friendly regulatory environment, and the importance of education. But what about the crypto industry itself? They haven't been sitting on the sidelines during all this political upheaval, have they?
Not at all. In fact, one of the most interesting developments has been the crypto industry's growing political influence.
Oh, yeah.
They've become much more active in recent years, lobbying for favorable policies, supporting pro-crypto candidates, and trying to shape the public narrative around this technology.
Almost like a coming-of-age moment for the industry.
Yeah.
They're realizing that they need to have a seat at the table if they want to influence the rules of the game.
Exactly. They're no longer content to just be on the receiving end of government policies. They want to be active participants in shaping those policies.
And they're putting their money where their mouth is, so to speak.
Right.
I'm seeing here that the crypto industry was a major force in the recent elections, pouring money into campaigns and supporting candidates who align with their vision.
That's right. They've learned that political engagement is essential if they want to protect their interests and advance their agenda. And as the industry grows and matures, we can expect to see their influence continue to expand.
It's a fascinating development. We've got this new technology that's challenging the traditional financial system, a new political landscape that's still taking shape, and a new generation of entrepreneurs and activists who are determined to make their voices heard. It's an exciting and unpredictable time to be alive, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's like we're witnessing the birth of a new era, and the stakes couldn't be higher.
It feels like we're standing on the edge of something really transformative.
It does, doesn't it? We're seeing this convergence of technology and finance and politics in a way that we've never seen before.
Right.
And the outcome is far from certain.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this discussion. We've talked about strategic Bitcoin reserves, the potential for a more crypto-friendly regulatory environment, the concerns about government overreach, and the growing political influence of the crypto industry. What are some key takeaways you'd like to leave our listeners with as we wrap things up?
Well, first and foremost, I think it's important to emphasize that we're still in the very early stages of this crypto revolution.
Right.
The landscape is constantly shifting, and there are still a lot more questions than answers.
It's like we're exploring uncharted territory.
Exactly. And that can be both exciting and daunting.
Yeah.
But I think it's crucial to approach this with a sense of curiosity and a willingness to learn. Don't be afraid to ask questions, challenge assumptions, and form your own opinions.
It's about being an active participant in this unfolding story, not just a passive observer.
Precisely. And that brings me to my second takeaway.
Okay.
Education is key.
Right.
The more you understand about how this technology works, the better equipped you'll be to navigate this complex and rapidly evolving space.
It's like anything else in life.
Yeah.
The more you know, the better decisions you can make.
Exactly. Take the time to learn about the different types of cryptocurrencies,
Right.
the underlying technology, the potential risks and rewards, and the different perspectives on regulation. There are tons of resources available online in libraries and through various educational platforms.
And don't be afraid to connect with other people
Yeah.
who are interested in this space.
Exactly.
Join online communities, attend meetups, and share your knowledge and experiences with others.
Absolutely. Learning is a social activity. Engage with others, have those robust discussions, and learn from each other's insights.
So education, engagement, and a healthy dose of curiosity. Those are some great takeaways.
Yeah,
But I'd like to add one more. Don't be afraid to experiment.
I agree. This is a space where hands-on experience can be invaluable.
If you're feeling adventurous, dip your toes into the water. Buy a small amount of Bitcoin, set up a crypto wallet, or experiment with a decentralized application.
Just be sure to start small and do your research before making any significant investments.
It's almost too big to comprehend.
It is, but that's what makes this so fascinating. We're witnessing the birth of a new era, and the future is wide open.
It's a future that we'll all have a hand in shaping. So stay informed, stay engaged, and stay curious.
And most importantly, stay open to the possibilities.
This has been an incredible discussion. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey.
It's been my pleasure.
Please leave a like, or even better, subscribe to this channel. And bye, friends.
Bitcoin Radio, the sound of the change.